Aha! Hello there. How are we today? Welcome to the new branded Captivate Upfront. It's a concept that we completely stole from everyone else. But what the hell? We like it. They like it. It's all fun. And we figured we'd use this because we want to give you the skinny on a couple of new features, but also talk to you about what the future holds for Captivate as well. And what a show it's going to be. What a bloody show it's going to be. I've got the main man, Garry, the main man, Danny. I've got me. I've got some screen shares. I've got some videos. I've got some cashews and raisins for when my energy starts to drop. And I've got a highly branded water bottle that I might bring on just to say hello, because you've got to keep up the representation. It is going to be a great event. And what we're going to do is talk to you, like I said, about a little bit about the past with Captivate, why we do what we do. A little bit about the future, what's coming up, why we do what we do, and then I'm going to bring two new features to you, two not inconsiderable new features, two pretty big new features, and then I'm going to give you some timings on them as well. But before we do that, I'm going to bring on Garry and Danny and say hello to them. Then we're going to do some hellos to the people in the comments as well. So we've got Garry, our wonderful head of design, and our head of sport and experience, Mr. Danny Brown. All right, chaps, how are we?
Good.
All good, very, very good. Excited for this one. It's going to be a good one. I love these events, and I love the reactions as well. It's going to be so good. I can't wait. Let's do it. Let's do it.
And Danny, Evo's saying that I need to hold up the baby, which I think Sam would kill me if I did that. Oh, and I don't know if Evo, because he's a bass player, I don't know if he actually means the jazz bass in the background. You can never tell, can you? There you go, Evo.
I don't know which one you want to hold above your head, mate.
I think I should have put my windscreen on today.
Should have put your windscreen on.
Yeah, I'm looking at you guys with your windscreens, and I've got my little pop filter. So
yeah, but you look cool.
I feel left out.
No. You look cool. And we've all got fancy headphones as well, so you can tell we're pro podcasters, which is always good. I can't wait for the inevitable mess up that I make as well. Like something will inevitably go wrong. Usually StreamYard kicks me out, and then I get a load of comments. What's happened? It's normally StreamYard kicked me out. So we'll see if that happens. We'll see if my internet connection drops. So we've got a little bit coming up about these new features. We're going to talk about two very big new features that are going on. But you guys have been working hard on Captivate Insider. You did a great episode together very, very recently. Is that is that something that every one of our podcasters should be getting involved in and sort of checking into? Tell us a bit about that show, Danny. What is Captivate Insider? What's the dealio with it?
Yeah, so Captivate Insider is basically going inside, as the name would suggest, to the Captivate team. You get to meet all the team members and a bit about what we do, the new features that come out, why we choose these features, a bit of the the experience that we give our podcasters on Captivate, some of the design stuff that Garry does. It's really a nice inside look at Team Captivate and what we do for the podcasters that are with us. And
I love it. I love it.
Podcasters that aren't with us, maybe, that want to come with us.
Everyone.
Yeah.
There are no Captivate outsiders, only insiders. And Gaz, you run Captivate Insider, available in all podcast applications of your choice. And how do you go about planning these episodes? Because it's weird taking people behind the scenes of something like Captivate, because it's a software company, it's online, tap, 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 tap. What sort of drives that decision making when it comes to what you showcase?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because it's generally a mix of, first of all, is there anything cool within Captivate that I feel the world needs or should be hearing about? So that's not, we don't give any big spoilers away. We don't reveal anything big on the roadmap, but is there anything that we've just released maybe, or anything we're working on that's a little inkling about what's coming up, so that our users and our potential users can think, actually, yeah, this thing with Captivate sounds very cool. And I also, juxtaposition records. Yeah, do that and just talk to a team member. So if there's anyone that I think is doing a fantastic job on a certain project, or like I said, we've just launched something and it's gone out to a wicked fanfare, then I grab them on the show and get into their brain a little bit and find out their workflow and why they did certain things and so on. So it's a great mix of sort of Captivate features and our fantastic team. We've got such a great team, so it's good to dig into their brains a little bit. Yep.
I love it. All right, you two. Well, thank you for that. And do check out Captivate Insider, run by the wonderful Garry, and heavily featuring the fantastic Danny and the rest of the team. You guys are going to be sticking around, so maybe we'll bring you back on in a little while. But for now, adios, and we'll go to the comments. Good to see Kippers online. He's broken the YouTube embargo. Well done on sneaking your way back in. We've also got some fantastic people as well, friends of Captivate and personal friends of ours as well, including, not least, Mr. Andy Wang, whose birthday it was yesterday, so I'm told by the birthday fairies. So hello to you out there in New Jersey, good sir. I'm gutted to have not seen you for a year or two, but I'll see you soon. I'll hopefully see you at Dallas. And yeah, happy birthday, man. Just keep doing what you do. We've got Jim Case, we've got Rick, we've got Matt Passy, good to see you. We've got Jonathan Bing, Ian Broom, Patriot Sports Radio. We've got Will, we've got Regina, we've got the one, the only Evo, obviously pitching for the jazz bass. Geddy Lee special, came across it in a little music store. But the original Geddy Lee, made in Japan, not crafted in Japan, made in Japan. Don't see him much. We've also got Gravitas Detroit, Eric Goranson, Chris, and just the usual crew, Blake and Brad and everyone else. And Sam. Don't know who's looking after the baby. Sam, hopefully you, downstairs. But I'm sure you and Dottie are doing just fine without me. So what have we got? What have we got? Well, look, I was listening to a bit of, I've been watching Get Back, you know, on the Get Back documentary on Disney Plus, and it's got me listening back to the Beatles catalogue and a little bit of the solo stuff as well. And George Harrison came on earlier. I was driving up into the village, and you know, the old "I Got My Mind Set on You," that classic pop track that no one expected from him. He goes on about time and money, does he? He's going on about it. He's going on about it. He's going on about it. And it got me thinking that actually time and money are the only things that anyone really needs to do anything really, really well. With those two things, you can acquire everything else. You can acquire education, you can acquire skills, resources, you can acquire anything. You can get good at something. And with time and money, you can do all right if you put your mind to it. And it's one of those things that, as a podcaster, when I ask the questions online, when I'm sort of talking on Twitter and I'm doing, you know, the things that I do online, and I inevitably ask these questions like, what's the one thing you would change about podcasting? Or what's the one thing you knew more about? And it's always something like marketing, or it's workflow, it's planning, it's the publishing process, or it's editing. And what's the one thing you'd outsource? And inevitably, it's the same sort of answers. It's always these tasks. It's always these things that come up. And again, that got me thinking, well, actually, if we had more time, we could, you know, maybe just put a little bit more effort into sort of setting these up as part of our workflow, or batching these things up, or doing whatever. If we had some more money, maybe we could outsource some of these things. Maybe we could get someone to help us with these things. And it always comes back to that. Now, I want to flash back to when we launched Captivate. We launched in 2019, August 2019, came out of beta in January 2020, which is startling. But we've been in, you know, Kieran and I have been in podcasting, and Gaz and Danny and everyone else been in podcasting for a few years before that. In fact, this is our 10th year in podcasting, guys, which is terrifying. And we've always had the same mentality. When we launched, we said we're the only growth-oriented podcast hosting platform. And people said to us, you know, other hosts, well, are you saying we don't care about our other hosts, our hosts' growth, our creators' growth? And we said, well, I'm not saying that, but prove it. Like, what have you really done? And obviously that's a little bit of tumbleweed, because no one's doing that much, are they? Just no one's really doing anything interesting. So when we launched Captivate, we wanted to stand by that mission. Growth oriented, growth focused, and everything that we've done has been to that end. We had to even, you know, we had to convince our own people internally and our advisors of our vision when we first launched. You know, it took some real persistence, and to be growth focused, to be growth-oriented means that us, as Captivate, all we got to do is give you time and give you money. And George would be really proud of that, wouldn't he? He'd be loving that. So we've released a raft of different things. We've released so much to help with this. Everything from the integrated guest booking through to the single promo link. Everything from the dynamic show notes builder through to our audio monetization and integration engine, which is, of course, Amy, the dynamic content platform that we released. And I've got to be honest, I was sort of getting a bit worried that we'd slowed down. But that's not the case because the ideas never stop. So today, I'm going to give you something that will save you time, and I'm going to give you something that will help you make money. That's it. Time and money. So, shall we do time first? We should do time first. All right. Go on then. You twisted my arm. Can you remember we released the dynamic show notes builder, didn't we? So what I can do as a lazy podcaster like me who wants to get more time back so that I can do other things like marketing and audience growth, I don't really want to spend much time writing my show notes. So just after Christmas, we released the dynamic show notes builder, which what that allows us to do is to build these show notes templates. I can create short codes, I can create blocks, and I can then create these templates for my show notes that get me 90% of the way there. You know, I can, I've just got to type in what the episode is about. That's all, that's all I've got to do. Maybe type in a few bits. I don't have to put my guest info in because I've got shortcodes for that from the guest booking platform. What if we could get you 100% of the way there? What if instead of 90% of the way there, the dynamic show notes builder could actually get you 100% of the way there? Well, that's what we thought we might try and crack. And so we started thinking, where do show notes actually come from? Well, they come from the thing that you're talking about. They come from the idea. They come from the research. They come from the planning. And I don't know if you're like me, but you'll maybe plan in advance. Danny and I spoke on Twitter last week about whether we batch our episodes out, and I don't tend to record in batch. I just don't do it. But I plan in batch and I research in batch, whether it's a guest, whether I'm doing it for one of our other podcasts where I'm talking to a guest, or whether it's Gaz and I on Spark Rebellion talking to someone like Charles Soule, or whether it's Gaz running Captivate Insider, or whether it's Podcast Stories by Danny or PodChat, and you do your research. And I thought, oh, wait a sec. We thought, this is where the show notes come from. I'm just sort of typing up the things that I've already researched and planned, and why should I have to do all that together? So today, in order to save you time, in order to get your show notes 100% of the way there so that you don't have to type show notes anymore, but so that you have great quality show notes, I am absolutely just stoked for this. This is the one thing I've wanted since before day one of Captivate. I'm going to show you Captivate's brand new episode planning, research links, and Chrome extension toolkit. All right. Now, this is absolutely fantastic stuff. All right. I'm going to share my screen. I am going to go deep into this. All right. It's brilliant. Nathan, machine learning, not interested. Honestly, I don't see the use for it right now in this. This is going to be an absolute game changer for how you research and plan, because this is what you do already. All right. Why have it separated elsewhere? All right. So let me show you Captivate's brand new episode planning, research tools, and Chrome extension. So I've got my episodes here. I've got my Star Wars stuff. All right. This is Gaz and I. This is our show. We've got all of our episodes here. And look at this. We've got an interview with Dave Filoni, which we definitely did. We definitely did that episode with Dave. Big shout out, Dave. And if I go and edit this episode, look at this. I've got all of these shortcodes from Captivate's Dynamic Show Notes Builder. And I've got my show notes templates that are all set up, and they do all this. This is all automatic stuff. All right. This is just automatically generated for me. I've not done anything on this episode apart from do the planning. Okay. So we have now 2 brand new sections under research and planning on the left-hand side. Okay. We've got episode planning, where I can add as many episode ideas as I like. I can add, for example, this Galactic Star Cruise review right here. This is just me. I'm planning along. I'm sort of running my title. I've typed my summary, and I've put my own host notes in for my own sanity, so something that I can present to people. I can assign guests to these ideas. I have got research links added to this as well. I can add as many research links as I want to this, which I'm going to show you in just 1 second. And I can create as many of these ideas as I want. But what's pretty cool about this, which I'm going to show you in a second when I've added more research links, we've also got some really interesting stuff around your own notes. So let me show you. If I go ahead here and view all of my research links, okay, I could go ahead and I could grab this link right here. And I could say, okay, this is a new research link that I want to add. And I'll just paste the URL in. Captivate goes off. It gets the title for me. And this, I can just type something in. And I can just type as much of this as I want. I can add it to a current idea or to a current episode. I can create all of these ideas, or I can just quickly add this research link, and off it goes. It just adds it in the background, and off we go. We just get that added in. Now, what I can also do is if I come in here to this particular website, so I'm doing my research, I'm searching for a guest, what's Dave Filoni talking about? What is he doing? What's happening? Dave Filoni this, Dave Filoni that. This brand new Captivate Chrome extension exists. If I click this, I can choose my show. The label is pulled from the title here. And I can, of course, add any notes. This looks sweet. And then I can click Add Link. And that will be added into my research links. Right there. Right there. Now, what can I do with that? Well, I can do all sorts of different things with that one. I can go into my episode planning and I can go ahead and I can say, okay, we're going to talk on this Ewan and Hayden Talk Kenobi. We're going to come in and we've got our details in. We've got our optional summary. We've got our host notes, which are sort of my crib sheet notes. We don't have a guest for this episode, but we can do that. What I can do here is I can literally just choose my research link from there and it's added right into the idea. Now, if I wanted to, I could just add a new research link straight in here as well. Just clicking Add New Research Link. It's going to do the very same thing. Interesting story. Martin, it is very lean, sir. Very lean. I can add that research link in there. And what will happen is that will go ahead. It will add it into my episode here. I just go ahead, update the idea. And off we go. Now, you might be thinking, well, that's cool, Mark. That's quite nice. But what else have you got for me? Well, let me show you. What about if you want to send this to your guests? What about if you want to just have your crib sheet notes up in front of you when you are recording? Well, what about if I just click this notes icon here? All of my recording notes are here. And I've got all of my links to hand. I've got all of my guest details to hand. So this idea had Dave Filoni added as a guest. I've got all of my research links and the notes that I've added. I can go back to my ideas. And then, here we go. What else can I do with this? Well, what if I wanted to turn this into an episode? What if I want to turn it? Well, I can easily go, oh, okay. Let me just convert this idea into an episode. And I can, choose some audio, attach it to the episode, choose my show notes template. We've got all of these brand new shortcodes for the shortcodes builder. Now, what's really fun with this is that if I was to publish this, I'm not going to I'm going to show you a separate one. Look, all the links have been pulled in. I can add my pre-roll through Amy, which remember has dynamic content. And I could publish that as normal. Now, here's one that I prepared earlier. And the reason I'm not going to publish this one is because I want to show you what the RSS feed works like, okay? So I converted this interview with Dave Filoni from an episode idea. So I'm clicking in episode planning, and look, it's there. Can you see that has been converted to an episode? That idea has been converted to an episode, all right? So if I come in, I can either edit it from the planning screen, or I can come back into the episode list and just kind of, click to edit it. All of my guest details were in there. All of my information was in there. All, Dave Filoni's details are in there. All the links are in there. This is super simple. However, look at, in particular, at this research links shortcode. Can you see that? We've got this research links. We've got idea summary. We've got idea title. When I convert these ideas into an episode, all the data is pushed in. I don't have to do anything. I've not touched these show notes. I have not done anything with these show notes. I've just converted that idea, and the show notes that I got out of them were this. You can see that I've got everything from the idea. This is the research links block right here. Can you see this here? The research links block is beautifully formatted. It creates the links. It creates a bulleted list for you. It puts your notes in there for you if you so wish. And all of my guest information has been pulled through as well. Guest information on Dave Filoni, Dave's website, the URL. These are all shortcodes. I have not written anything for this episode. These are the episode details that you want to be published, and you can build these up so that you don't have to do anything on an episode by episode basis. It is super quick. It is super quick. It is so good. All right. And with the Chrome extension, you can just do your research in minutes. You can be whipping through, like I do this with a Star Wars show. You know, I'll be searching while I have a cup of tea. What cool Star Wars stories are we going to be looking at today? And I'll just go through and I'll just fire through with the Chrome extension. And it is so unbelievably quick. And the real power here is look at these shortcodes. We've got all of these available to us. We've got just everything that we need so that we can build up our show notes templates, so that we can build up our blocks of repeatable content, like our tips info. It is so unbelievably quick. It's fantastic, all right? This is literally the one thing that I've wanted since day one of building a podcast hosting platform, since before then, all right? So look, that's the episode planning, research links, and of course, the Chrome extension. It's a huge piece of your workflow, and it's all done in one place. It's all done in one place. Now, what I want you to really understand the power of here is that guest booking is in V1. Will we add calendar integrations? Yeah, sure we will. Will we add multiple guest bookings in one place? Sure. Trevor, if you want that, that's cool. We can fix it if you want. You can request it as a feature. We're pretty open to that stuff. We've got to be all happy about everything. So we can do a lot with all of this ecosystem of information. We've got the guests in Captivate. We've got the ideas in Captivate. We've got the attribution links in Captivate. We've got our single promo link here in Captivate, our show notes builder, our blocks, our shortcodes, our dynamic content, all there inside Captivate. So we can then start to look at what's working, what works, which guests get bigger reach, which episode ideas fly more than others. It's all about giving you end-to-end data. All right. We're not ticking features off on a feature list. That's boring. We're not doing any of that. We're giving you something useful. All right. It's big stuff. So I'm going to bring Garry. I'm going to bring Danny on in just a second to chat through this. But I'm going to jump through some of the comments and some of the questions. And then we're going to get to this in just a second. What we got? Kipper, what's the Chrome extension called? If you just search for Captivate, it's there, but it won't do anything yet because the research links aren't released. But it is just Captivate. We'll be sending everyone a link to that anyway. And of course, it's going to be in the dashboard. There'll be a link to download that. And it works on anything that supports Chrome extensions. So I'm using Brave right now, and that's using it. So it works just great on everything. It's great. It works really, really well. Trevor, we don't need to fix guests. It's more about upgrading the features. You know what I mean? Never look a gift horse in the mouth. We've got to just understand that no one else is doing this, Trevor. Let's think glass half full. None of this existed elsewhere. You can, by all means pay $10 a month for something else, but there's no need. All right. Let's be glass half full because we're all in it together, aren't we? We're just here doing our jobs, and it's good that you use it. It's great that you're enjoying it. So stick a feature request in. We can do that. We can work on it. We'll talk through support. It's always good. All right. So, yeah, the Calendly stuff is interesting. So, Rachel, just around guest booking. So, we probably want to integrate with Calendly because that's sort of a thing that is sort of similar to guest booking. We'll probably do Outlook integration and Gmail The problem with doing integrations is, believe it or not many people ask for it. Number two, it's a really big piece of work and a lot of maintenance. So what you tend to find is that sort of, it would require almost half a developer's time to constantly maintain that. Because when you've got external services like Google or Outlook, if they make a change, we've sort of got to look at it and we've got to respond to it and work on it. So it does take a lot of time. So what we might do is maybe link in with something like Chronify, which provides a connector service between softwares. So Captivate through Chronify could talk to other calendars. And we've debated that, what to do with that one. We wanted to do it really quickly, and then actually, honestly, genuinely no one apart from, the vocal minority really, really pushed for it. You always get people that no matter what you release, they're like, it would be great, but I want this thing. So we only got a few people wanting that integration. So it's always a balancing act, but we will do it. It's on it, to be fair, we almost did it before the research planning, but it was just a little bit of an awkward thing. That's all. But yeah, I'd love to do it because, to be fair, I'd use the Outlook one myself. Question from Randy. Will there be a way to cut and paste or add show notes to a WordPress post? Yeah, we're going to be upgrading Captivate Sync for that, Randy. So all these shortcodes will work in Cap Sync, which is quite cool. So yeah, you can do that, but you won't need to. What else we got? Shelton, couple of requests. Stop sending so many emails. And include WAV files. Not sure why Empire 3 is the only option for a podcast host. It isn't. You can upload M4A and all sorts of other files, but we don't upload WAVs because they're uncompressed. So we'd have to do a lot of processing, which would really slow it down for you. It's, we might support that one, but I doubt it. We're not going to stop sending so many emails. I'm sorry. For every one person that says that, we get 1,000 that like the emails. So, you can unsubscribe. That's cool. I'm sorry if you don't like them, but, c'est la vie. So Jeff, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. What else we got? Some more questions coming in. Yeah, I think on this one, Liam, with Edge, I'm not sure if it works on the Chrome backend anyway. I don't know that. I just can't remember. We'll be able to find the answer very quickly, and Gaz probably knows, or someone else. And then let's have a quick look. Just a couple more questions. And then we're going to bring Gaz and Danny on, and then after that, we'll release and reveal something else. Here we go. Okay, this is a good one. Are there shortcuts to insert parts of a transcript? No, there aren't, and that's sort of on purpose, because transcripts should be added in their own tag. So if you go to publish an episode in Captivate, click the advanced link. On the episode publish screen, you'll get a drawer that comes out. In fact, no, it's not. You click the transcript link, it will slide a drawer out, and you can either upload or pull in from Descript or type your transcript in or copy and paste it in. So we won't allow shortcodes to do that, because that would then put them into the show notes, which obviously we don't really want. We want them in the proper transcript tag. So let's bring on the main men, Garry and Danny, and then we will talk about some other bits and bobs that we've got going on. So, Gaz, you plan a lot of episodes. Does this solve a pain point for you? Because that's why we exist, mainly to look after you.
Of course, yeah. It's my personal wish list that drives the roadmap, of course. So, yeah, for someone like me, that's and like anyone that runs, a few podcasts will know that regardless if you're planning your shows a day in advance, a week, a month, however long that might be, it's anything that can cut out that little block of time that you would normally spend, manually doing all that stuff is such a huge benefit. And you nailed it when you were going through the feature itself, that it's just one less thing that you have to mess around with externally to Captivate. So anyone that's using additional tools, like you and I, we use Trello to plan our Spark of Rebellion stuff, and I use Google Sheets. I used to use something else. I think a lot of people use Notion, those kind of tools that allow you to plan ahead. You can just ditch that now. Just, throw that in a bin. You don't need that. Bring everything into Captivate, and it's all ready to rock and roll. So I love this feature, dude. And, as we were chatting about earlier, it's one of those things where you and I have spoken about it for a while, and it's, why don't we just do that? Because you and I would find benefit, and, all of our Captivate users will love it, I'm sure. So yeah, I'm up for it, dude. I love it.
From day one, I'm going to be using this one. Danny, we've got a couple of questions just regarding other things in Captivate. So I'm going to pass them over to the support maestro, the experience extravaganza, the bonanza, the man himself. So I'm going to flash this one up for you. Can you add your own SEO title and metadata, I'm assuming, to the episodes?
Yes, you can. You can if you're using Captivate Sites or Captivate Sync. We allow you to type in episode SEO title right there from your title. But if you're using Sync or Captivate Sites, you have the option to add a meta description too, and that will obviously help with your episode discovery. If you're using your own site, we tend to leave that for you because we guess you're going to be using your own SEO plugin for WordPress, for example.
Exactamundo, thank you, sir. And then one more. We've got one from Lovelace Cook, which is also around transcripts. But I know we do support Descript. We support the export from Descript straight through. But as Nancy mentioned, we can easily just use the SRT format from Descript, can't we, Danny? On that, we'll just upload straight into the transcript section.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you can download or import it across. You can use the share link that Descript has. It may be that if you're doing a video podcast with Descript, that could possibly have a little bit of an issue. But I know we're working with the Descript team on anything like that. But yeah, there's multiple ways to bring Descript straight into the Captivate dashboard.
Did you put your hand up then? What you put your hand up for?
Yes. Just want to follow on very quickly from the question we had earlier about the Chrome extension. Will it work in Microsoft Edge? It will absolutely work in Edge, but there's just one little thing you might need to do. So in the settings in the extension store, there's a little option at the bottom. If you go down to the bottom left-hand side, it says allow extensions from other stores. If you do that, then you can jump on the Chrome web store and install anything you like. So head over there and grab the Captivate extension. It's all good.
I thought you had to go to the bathroom there after his 6 Jaffa cakes.
I just need 2 minutes. Now, we got a contentious comment from Raf, the man, the Maryland wizard, as I call him, out there in the woods, making his own. Well, he's always making something. He's always making something. And it is a contentious comment, which is, Danny is always so nice and proper.
What Danny's he on about?
I don't know. I got another guy called Danny. He's lovely.
He's a plumber.
No, he's a plumber. Yeah, he's downstairs. No, Danny is always great, Raf, isn't he? He's always so helpful and very, very knowledgeable. And we're very lucky to have Danny on board as well as the rest of the team. Yes, and love to Mindy and the kids, dude. All right. Oh, here we go. We got one from Charles as well, which we'll pick up, and then I'm going to let you two shoot off again while I talk about the next one. So from the man, the myth, the legend, MIC Podcast Club's very own Mr. Charles Cummins, do the dynamic show note shortcodes now work with CapSync. They didn't work for me at first, and my WP post looked like they were full of code. They don't yet. That's a sync upgrade. So it's not the shortcodes, it's a sync upgrade, which requires WordPress reviews and so on and so forth. It's a little bit more cumbersome. But I know while I've been on paternity, that's been something that Lester's been looking at. And Danny, I know you'll be glad to get that one done as well, dude.
Yep, I'm a sync user, so yeah. And as you say, Lester's right on that at the moment. Good to see you, Charles. Hope the virtual meetup with Ariel went well this week. Sorry we couldn't be there, but we'll be there at the next one in person. All right, team, I'm going to thank you and then bring you back on later. So, Danny, go and make a nice brew. And Jeff likes your sky blue background, by the way. So congrats on that hue. Well played. I did it for Jeff. I know he's a blue guy. So.
He is. And Gaz, much love, my man. If you did stick your hand up to nip to the loo, now's your chance.
Okay, bye.
Mr. Lamphere, good to see you. The API is undergoing a bit of an upgrade at the minute because there's a few things that we want to do with the API anyway. So there's a lot with the guest booking that we want to do. There's a lot with some other bits in the API. So when we upgrade the API, we tend to do it as one job rather than adding endpoints for, add endpoints for this, endpoints for that, endpoints for the other. We'll do like one batch update on it. So we do expect that to be probably, I would imagine the next quarter when we do an overhaul of that one, but it really is like the power users that want that. So it's, again, it's similar to what Rachel said earlier. It's sort of it's always finding that balance, what to do and when, especially because we're such a small team. It's really about sort of picking the fights on that one. But I know Kieran and Pierre want to upgrade the API anyway, so I expect that to be addressed then. But always, Chris, just keep us posted on what you need, man. We can talk through it. Yeah, I know, Trevor. We like I said, I want to get more. We want to get more out, but you always do. Like I said, you do sort of a batch upgrade on that one, which is good. What's up, James? You missed our brand new episode planning research links and Chrome extension that will allow you to plan all of your episodes way in advance, convert them to episodes, save links from across the web into your Captivate dashboard, and dynamically and automatically generate all of your show notes without having to type episode details in once you've done your planning. It's great. Works really well. But does it work in Spanish? It's how, I think someone else asked this earlier, this and the right to left support. The right to left support, again, it's one of those things. Our market is generally not too focused on that, but we do desperately want to support that. We just got to find the resource to do it. The Spanish side of things, obviously you can use Captivate in any language, but we do want to add more translations for actual native support within the interface. So episodes, obviously you can use whatever language you want and so on. When it comes to translating Captivate, it is something that we are looking at as part of the bigger global picture, and we'll keep you posted on that one, Federico, because that's it's a great question. So it was you. I can't see. I've got all my comments scrolling. It was you, sir. All right. Whew. Well, that's the time part. What about the money part? What about the money part? Do you know, I'm all about a connected world when it comes to podcasting. You know, I see a lot of startups that are springing up, and in particular the last 2 years, that were sort of trying to solve fragmented problems. You know, they were trying to solve problems around generating listener support and revenue and giving access to things. And I thought, well, that's great. That's cool. But I'm all about that connected ecosystem. Why should your podcast hosting platform just do the hosting? That's why we've got the dynamic show notes builder. It's why we've got everything that we've done, single promo links, guest booking, all of that stuff. You know, there's always things that we can do better with those elements, and there's always more that we can do. But what we always try and do is follow the 80-20 rule. Okay, what 20% of the features can we give to people? Like with the guest booking, that could be all singing, all dancing, but it only needs to be enough to give 80% of the people everything that they need, and everything else is just tightening the nuts and just sort of tightening up on things. So that's the approach that we like to take. And then V2 will upgrade, V3 will upgrade, and so on and so forth. So our vision for Captivate is diversity in everything, all right? Diversity in toolkit, because we know that not every podcast is created the same way. We know that not every person has the very same processes. And in particular, when it comes to revenue and making money, I don't want you to be stuck with a sponsor and thinking to yourself, well, if I lose this sponsor, all of my monetization has gone. So for Captivate, it's about diversification in monetization, which is really hard to say. Diversification in monetization. And what I mean by that is that it's all about eggs in baskets. You know, it's all about eggs in baskets. And generally speaking, podcasters will say, well, you know, I got a sponsor. That's cool. That's great. That pays the way. It's cool. It's great. It's great. But we see a lot of podcasters that say, well, I've lost my sponsor. I can't really keep up. All right. Or they get worried. We also then see people saying, well, I'm going to sell my own services, or I'm going to get listener support, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, or I'm going to sell bespoke sponsorship packages. And when you see some of the Facebook groups, you get a lot of people saying, well, there's only one way to make money. There's only this way to make money. Or you can't possibly. There's no way you can make money without selling CPM sponsorships. That's rubbish. You should only be doing it this way. And I think, well, that's not right. It's not right. Diversification is key. Okay? It is key. It's all about, like I said, those eggs in baskets. So what we've done with Captivate is Kieran's been loving this one. He's been like working on this for a while behind the scenes now and just been loving it. All right. We've connected Stripe to Captivate. We've connected Stripe to Captivate, which allows us to give you diversification in monetization. What it allows us to do is allow you to sell various things. So if we look ahead, I'm going to tell you about the first thing that you can do to make some money using Captivate. And I'm going to tell you when you can do it. Hint, very, very soon. But before I give you that, before I show you that, before I give you the video that Kieran had recorded for me on that thing, what I'm looking at here is, what if you want to charge people for feed drops? What if some big show wants to come and drop an episode into your feed? What if you could set your own pricing model for that? And just Captivate handles the payments and doesn't take a cut. What if you could sell trailer swaps, dynamic content from other shows? What if you could snip audio and advertise it on other podcasts? What if other people could snip their audio and advertise it on your podcast at a fee that you set? Or as a quid pro quo. What about all of your own sponsorship packages? Forget CPM, because that's reserved for people with bigger 10,000, 20,000 downloads an episode for it to be truly worthwhile. But the power is in the niche. You, the indie creator, have power, and you can sell that. You can sell your influence, your audio influence, fixed price sponsorship. What if you could go into Captivate and create fixed price sponsorship? You could sell that. That is what Stripe connectivity gives us. It allows us to give you the ability to productize your audience, productize your content. What if you want to sell private podcast audio memberships? Okay, cool. All of this is stuff that we're releasing. All of this is stuff that for the remainder of the year, we will be rolling out different products that you can sell. They're all dictated by you and that Captivate takes absolutely no cut from. Takes absolutely no cut from. And the first thing that you can do when we release this feature with the new Stripe connectivity is you are going to be able to take listener tips. You're going to set up your Stripe dashboard. You're going to go through the process of connecting Stripe in to your account. And from here, you're going to be able to go in to Captivate and you're going to be able to collect tips and set up donation amounts for your podcast. You're going to be able to allow listeners to give you $1, $5, $20, to be able to accept that revenue. Captivate supports this. It facilitates it. It will allow you to take private tips, public tips, which I'll show you about in a second, which allow you to display messages on your Captivate inbuilt website, and in the future through Captivate Sync. And Captivate doesn't take a cut. We're not a startup set up just to add listener support. We don't need to make our money from this. Captivate does not take a cut. What Captivate does is it will handle your Stripe payment. So Stripe, the payment processor, will take a small percentage and a small fixed amount from each of your tips. That's not Captivate. That is Stripe doing it. But we handle that. We handle all of the hard work. You just connect up and start taking your payments. You can display this on your website. You get a built-in support page, which looks fantastic. I'm going to show you that. Kieran's done me these videos because I've been on paternity. Let me show you now going through and taking a tip. So I'm going through and I'm setting up monetization on my my Captivate site so I can display some of that side of things. And let me just go through. We've got no tips as yet on here, but we've got a new section on our Captivate site. So let's go through and let's get a tip, shall we? Let's go to the /support page, which I can fully customize with my own tip amounts. And let's go get a tip from someone. I mean, you don't want to see what name he's put. He's put a very Star Wars name in there. So, you know, Kieran's going to give us $1 or £1. Remember, it does support whichever currency you're in, US dollar, euro, or pounds. And Kieran's chosen to make this private at the minute. He's demonstrating that for us. We can actually showcase these messages if we want. And what's Kieran going to put in? What's Kieran going to put in? Darth Kieran. Very original. Very original. You see Gaz smiling on that one. He's going through and he's tipping Spark of Rebellion. He's given us £1. I was hoping he was going to give us £10. And we're going through and putting that. Well, look at this. We support Google Pay and Apple Pay as well, which on mobile, let me tell you, is a game changer. You can just Apple Pay this. It's very quick for listeners to just support you. Let's go through. We'll complete this tip. And you can actually share this on Twitter. So I've just supported Spark Rebellion. I can tweet this out, send it off. Trevor, I'm going to answer that question in just a second. You're very positive today, you aren't you, Trevor? Come on, let's cheer up, mate. You're getting all this for free. Come on. You're like the guy in the pub that's like, the head's too big. Come on, I'll shave a little bit off for you. Well, then we'll refill it. So what you're going to see here is that I've now got a tip from Darth Kieran. Thanks for everything you do. No, I appreciate it, Kieran. Don't worry about it. You're welcome. We've got this tip in here. We can go ahead. We can tweet this. We can make it private over on the right-hand side. And we can go through this process of refunding if we so wish. And then once we've got that tip, you'll see that it's right there on my page. Let me just get back to that one for you. Just there. You'll see that we can build this tip feed up, which can then in turn be shared and so on and so forth. So this tipping will be live the second we release it. Like, it's all built, it's finished, it's ready to roll. And you can withdraw things. I'm not going to sort of talk to you too much about this, but we've also built something that we call the Captivate Earnings Dashboard. Because remember, it's diversification in earnings. Look, you can see here that this £1 tip makes up 100% of my earnings. But what about my dynamic ad insertion? What about my fixed price sponsorships? What about my Patreon style membership levels? What about my feed drops and my trailer swaps? What about my private paid for podcasts? This will show you the makeup of all of your earnings through Captivate. And from here, you can withdraw them directly to your bank account in a fully secure way. So tips is coming to you, the Captivate podcast. And I'm going to tell you in a second when this is coming. But I want you to bear in mind that this is not it when it comes to monetization. It's all about diversification, all right? Moving forward throughout 2022, you've got tips. You will be able to charge for paid private podcast feeds. The Stripe's connected. The marketplace is there. It's easy for us to do, and that's actually almost ready to go. You will be able to sell feed drops. You will be able to sell cross-promotional trailer swaps using dynamic content insertion through Amy. You'll be able to time those. You'll be able to set campaigns up for when, if Danny wants to buy something on the accelerator, or I want to buy something on Podchat or Podcaster Stories, give me a trailer swap that runs for 2 months and I'll pay you $100 or $500 or whatever. And Danny can automatically set that and get paid. You'll be able to set fixed price sponsorship packages that you can just sell through Captivate. And Trevor, to answer your question, each one of these things will not require Captivate sites. You don't need Captivate sites, Trevor, to take that payment. Whatever your URL is linked to Captivate, or if you use one of your attribution links, or whether you use a custom TLD link to Captivate, everyone using Captivate will get a /support. Send people to that link, just like /booking, and they will be able to make payment. You can link that to a short link. You can do whatever you want with it. You don't need Captivate sites for this to work. It's for everyone. And like I said, tips is only the first thing that we're doing. All right? It's only the first thing. Now, I'm going to talk to you about release dates in just a second, because you won't have to wait long for this. It's all built and ready to roll. But before I do that, I'm going to tell you 2 other smaller things that we're rolling out, and then I'm going to bring Garry and Danny back on for a little chin wag about those features. So we've also got a smaller integration with Boomplay, which is a podcast and audio directory out in Africa. So we're very excited for direct submission and integration with Boomplay coming up very, very shortly. I'm going to give you all the release dates in a second. And we've also got Podcasting 2.0 upgrade as well, which will integrate guests into Podcasting 2.0. It's not a quick and just tick a box, yes, we support 2.0. It's a properly integrated guests support system. So all of your guests will appear in the right place in your RSS feed with assignment for each of them automatically. And of course, we're going to be supporting roles as well, all of your team members and your roles via the podcast taxonomy project. All right. So we're really excited about that. There are 3 other smaller releases that we're putting out as well. And with the more we push into Podcasting 2.0, the more we'll do. And now Martin Linskog mentioned as well about will we support value for value. Honestly, not yet. Not yet, because, conversion rates on people giving you actual money that you can spend on whatever, on your mortgage, on your car payment, on your kids, is very low. We want to help you to make actual money. Then we'll support things like value for value, because V4V it's very much cutting edge stuff. It's bleeding edge. The very early adopters are loving it at the minute. And that's good. And we love it. But that doesn't help the day-to-day podcaster. So rather than tick a box and be able to put a tweet out and say, look at us, we're supporting everything, we're so cutting edge, I don't care about that. I want to support the real life podcaster that wants to make some actual money. It's not about us ticking boxes. It's about making sure that you've got what you need, all right? And that's the balance. That's, that's on me. That's my decision. I will take that, and I believe in that. So that's not to say we're against it. We love all that initiative. But I want to support the day-to-day podcaster that's not at the bleeding edge, all right? Because that's where real people live right now, okay? So, all righty then. Let's bring on Garry and Danny, and we're going to talk about tipping. Now, Danny, you speak online on Twitter a lot. You're doing more and more online to talk to people about, how they're growing their show and how they're getting into this. That diversification in generating revenue seems to be becoming more and more important, doesn't it? You're getting more people that are wanting eggs in baskets rather than like 3 years ago where it was get sponsor, maybe do a bit of Patreon. It seems to be broadening, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely. And you made a great point, maybe on Twitter, maybe on one of these actually, about having 7 or 8 different revenue streams, because then if you lose one, you've still got 6 to pull from. So you're only losing, say, 10 or 15% of your overall stream or your overall revenue. And especially with like more sponsors and more money, like obviously there's a lot of money coming into the podcasting space now, which is great, but being able to grab different parts of that and then showing the value of your podcast. Okay, well, my dynamic ads work better than my tips work better than X, and then really show what value they're going to get when they support your podcast.
Yeah, I love it, man. And for me, that diversification is so important because, like I keep saying, it's eggs in baskets. The last thing you want is to build a brand upon a sponsor and then the sponsor disappear because it was such a, you might have a super niche podcast and they're dipping their toe and it lasts for a year and you think, well, this is great. I've got sponsorship. It's cool. And then they think, actually, no, you are a niche podcast. We've tried our hand with podcast advertising with you. Now we've got a bigger ad budget for podcasting, but we want people with different numbers to you. So we're taking it there and we're putting it there. That's a rug pull for people. And guys, I think when you consider like what you do with Big Blue Box and what we do with Spark Rebellion and some of the other stuff, it's spreading your bets is always the best way to do it. We've seen it with Spark Rebellion. We've got some great patrons, but wouldn't it be good to have some people doing one-off tips and then other people doing feed drops from like Jedi News or whatever? It just feels safer to do that, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Definitely. And you see that a lot, not just in podcasting, but you see that a lot in people that offer advice with just passive income and all that sort of thing in general. If you want to boost your overall output and try and get some more revenue income, it's always about diversification. You cannot just, go into one basket, as you said. And we see that a lot with YouTubers. YouTubers will set up a YouTube channel about one specific game. There might be a streamer. That game then finishes or goes out of popularity, and then that's it. Their livelihood, their income through one thing is then shot to bits. So you have to think a little bit more. Tunnel vision will just cripple your monetization. So the diversification thing is and that's someone said in the comments, Jeff Townsend said Captivate is becoming a one-stop shop for all things podcasters, and this is just one key element of that. So if we can help you and the indie podcaster to spread that out and get some revenue streams from just more than one source, then you're on a great footing then, and you'll grow, certainly. Yep.
It really is, that earnings dashboard in particular, you can take tips from day one, but that earnings dashboard, I think, is very, very important because it allows you to build a picture up of your podcasting business. We wouldn't run Captivate without a metrics dashboard. We couldn't run it without a payment processor. And this is the same for the independent podcaster. You can say, well, look, actually, I did put this marketing spend into generating more tips. And it's worked. You know, it's gone from 25% of our revenue to 30%, and my overall revenue has gone up in the grand scheme of things. So I think when we add things like, you know, okay, here's actual ongoing support tiers, which is the next thing to add. Here's the ability to create a private podcast that's paid for, or that is only included on one of these tiers. And then, okay, let's earn 50 feed drops and actually add sales targets for ourselves. I want to do 50 feed drops this month. And then the ability to sort of say quid pro quo, you know, set my price, or is it a quid pro quo? When you put all of that together, like Jeff mentioned, it's a one-stop shop, but in particular, it's the single place that has all the dots for an independent podcaster, where all the dots are brought together and then connected, so that you can start to see, okay, I got more tips when I got Dave Filoni back on the show. Why was that? And you wouldn't be able to do that if it was like, okay, I'm going to use this for listener support. I'm going to use this for tipping. I'm going to use Calendly for guest booking. I'm going to use this to write my show notes. And I'm going to do this for my episode planning. I think that ecosystem, it's like, okay, here's a domino over here of Dave Filoni being a guest again. And boom, 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 boom. Oh, we got 10% more tips. What was that about? You know, so for me, I think that's super powerful. Danny, is that something that, you know, based on support and experience, and obviously you, Sam, and Ben, and Lester and Judah that work in support day to day, is that something that you can see our podcasters really diving into, that connectivity between, you know, planning and results, if you like?
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest questions we get is monetization. How do I make money? Do I use, you know, ad sponsors? How do I integrate Amy and all that? So it's one of the bigger ones. And then we see it on Facebook groups all the time and online. It's just like time. It takes time to make a single episode of a podcast. You do your research, your outreach to your guest, you're making your guest comfortable, you're recording, you're editing, you're marketing, and all that good stuff that we love doing, but we don't really love doing all that much at times. So anything that can make that a lot easier and make it, going back to Jeff's point, and there was a mention on a previous live stream about being an ecosystem for the indie podcaster. Anything that we are doing to make that happen, it's got to be a positive for anybody. I know I'll be using the Chrome extension a lot because I use Pocket at the moment for research when I'm doing my guest research. So pulling that into Captivate right away, boom, that's me sorted.
I'll be doing that. We do that at Spark Rebellion straight away. Like Trello will just be replaced whenever it comes out. Speaking of which, we'll do a few questions and comments, and then we'll talk about dates. So I'm going to tell you some of the dates in a second. We've got the California Podcast Association. Thank you for dressing up for the upfronts. I feel silly in my suit and tie now. Don't worry. I've got a suit and tie on underneath this sweater. It's just a little chilly in here. And
got a hat.
Oh, there he is. There he is. Top hat, Danny. There it is. You look like Laurel and Hardy or something. I love it. What else we got? Yes, from BLJ. Will there be a way to customize outgoing emails to guest booked? Yes, we're going to do, guys. We're going to do a full email sort of rework, aren't we? We've got, I think, the range of emails throughout Captivate. We're going to do a bit of a project on, because I know they bother you, and I think it bothers me that we can't customize them as much as we want. And you want them to look a bit prettier as well, don't you?
Yes, absolutely. And actually, in relation to the tips feature that Mark's just mentioned, we have a new suite of emails that have got a new template and a new design and so on. So we will probably leverage that and work on the other emails and base off that, because they look super good. I'm very happy with those. So yeah, it's been fun working on all that. So yeah, we'll look at the email suite for sure.
Go, man. And then Trevor, I'm going to have to do some research as to how to integrate things like attribution and support link with my other site, or if it's possible. There's a couple of ways that you can do it. There are plenty of ways to do it. Remember, you can link a domain up. What a lot of people do is, if they've got a domain, like I've got markasquith.com, and I've got a separate domain that I use just for Captivate, which is mark.live. So if you're wanting to say, like, okay, here's WordPress over here, but you don't want to use the Captivate generated URL, which is your show, you can just customize that, by the way. But if you want your own specific domain linked to Captivate, I'll see very often that there's a separate link that's linked to it. And it's a short link. So like I said, with me, it's just mark.live or whatever. So there are ways to do that to make it more useful. Remember, the goal with this is it's not to give you a range of deep dive tools for everything. Like, we'll never replicate WordPress, but what we will do is give you just enough of the features that you need to do a good podcast website. If you want a good website, and you want something that's all singing, all dancing, it's WordPress and it needs to do this, this, and this. WordPress is great at that. So it's all about that balance, I think. But yeah, I would certainly do a bit of research on it. And obviously, if we're in support and we can help. Ben, we won't be in Los Angeles, but we'll probably be in Dallas. I'd love to be in LA, but sadly not. What else have we got? Go on then. Michael Hurst. Who wants this one? Danny or Gaz? Whoever gets there first. Can we use the link for the Tip Jana promo material so someone can go direct?
Yes.
You absolutely can.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. That's a simple answer, that one, Michael. You absolutely can. Yeah. And make the most of it as well. Just absolutely do that. Yep.
A cool way to do it is so we will be measuring traffic to that support link. So it'd be like, for me, it'd be mark.live/support. Spark of Rebellion would be sparkofrebellion.com/support. And we'll be measuring the traffic to that, like we do with the single promo link and so on and so forth. So yeah, always link that up. But if you've got a custom domain linked up to it, like I said, there is merit in using a shorter URL with Captivate for all of these things. You either use it for your full site or you get another domain that's much, much shorter, and you genuinely use it as sort of a link shortener, which is why we did it. So it works really, really well. So Trevor on the guest booking, no, honestly, not a timeline on that, but it is guest booking. I want to do some work on anyway. So we'll keep you posted on it. I'd like to do 2 or 3 things with guest booking over the next quarter or so. So I'm, like I said, once I'm back in the saddle properly, we'll chat on that one. But there are a couple of tweaks that I want to make to it anyway. And I think they're probably pretty similar to you, man. So yes, we'll keep you posted. It is important to us. All right, you two, shall we reveal some dates then?
Let's do that.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to do it. There they are with bated breath. Here we go. We're going to do a little scrolling banner. Episode idea creator, research links tool and Chrome extension, the 22nd of March. Listener tips and support, revenue, 6th of April. And then the person and the roles update for P 2.0, 13th of April, and Boom Play, the 20th of April. And there'll be all sorts of other things coming after that one as well. So remember, with the tips, Captivate does not take a cut. We don't have to make money from your tips. That's just not what we need to do, all right? It's yours. We handle Stripe's fees for you, and that is that, all right? It's fantastic. So honestly, Danny, Gary, you guys have been fantastic working through this. You've been brilliant at just creating these features and working through with the team on them, so thank you so much. Danny, anything to add before we wrap up, dude?
Yeah, just keep on captivating. And obviously, if you're not with us at the moment, we'd love to see you there. You can see what we've got coming down the line for the Indie Podcaster.
Love it. I love it. Thank you very much, sir, and keep up your good work as always. And Gazla, anything to add to wrap up this beautiful session?
Yeah, just a quick one, just to say, we've seen this a few times in the comments, and we always see it on these live streams where people start to get an idea of how the bigger picture starts to form with Captivate. So I would say if you're not using some of these features, then just grab a cup of tea and spend half an hour in the dashboard and just do a bit of research and see how you can use them. Because once you start to use all the different pieces, and as we go through the next couple of years, you'll really see how it all comes together, and your growth will just go through the roof. So yeah, make use of all the stuff that we offer. Go and have a look. Yeah, it's been great. Cheers, dude.
Well played, everyone. Yes, and thank you to everyone as always. There's too many people to list, but Trevor, to Michael, to Night Shift Radio, to Jeff, Clever Dog, California Podcast Network, Ben, Martin, Nancy Merlin, we've got Chris Lanphier, to Davida, to Federico, Randy, Kipper, Sam. There's so many people. I just want to say thank you for letting us do this. It's nice to, this is a living. We do this for a living. What a privilege. So thank you so much. And until the next time, look out for all of the emails. I'm sorry, but we are going to send some emails about it because we got to. So we're going to send some emails about this 22nd of March episode planning and research. And then, of course, 6th of April for you'll be able to make money using Captivate. All right. So until then, keep doing what you do. Keep on Captivate and look after each other. And see you on the next one.